not offensive.
Welcome, Earthlings, to the latest episode of the Recap Film Buffs podcast. I'm your host, Dan Sellers, along with my on-the-run co-host, Mr.
Eating a bear claw, Sammie Castle.
We are here today to talk about the 1993 suspense thriller, The Fugitive.
93. It's 25 years.
25-year-old movie.
Holy shit.
Yep, it is. Before we get going on that, what else is new? We have this Saturday, see this episode air Friday, so the next day we'll be shooting the majority of our next short film, Countdown to Midnight. Mm-hmm. I'm excited about that. A little nervous, a little apprehensive, but very excited. Ready to get it done.
Yeah, that's... you know me, I don't get apprehensive about this stuff anyway. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm always excited when we're on set.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Well, it's fun. Mm-hmm. It's fun. I think it'll be cool to have.
It's the whole point of us doing it.
It is. We do so much work as producers to get to this one day of shooting where it's a lot of fun, and then, you know, I have a lot of fun in the editing process as well. But
I'm sure.
There's not a whole lot of editing in these movies. The midnight shift in this, it's just they're long takes, and you just gotta slap it together and present it. So,
cross your fingers and hope.
Yeah, I hope it turned out halfway decent. So, yeah, I think we're prepared, and we'll have a pretty cool product to show everybody here shortly. So, you just wrapped up your last season with not your last, but your latest season with the original Hollywood Horror Show.
Yes, I did.
How did that go?
Pretty good.
You still tired?
Yeah, I'll be tired. I'll be tired for a while, and I'll still have makeup around my eyes until about Thanksgiving. It takes forever to get it off.
Yeah.
Although I didn't do as much makeup this year, so I played a lot of masked characters, and I may be the only person in history who's ever gotten to play 3 of the big 4 iconic slashers in one day.
That's pretty cool.
Because I would literally start in the front of the house as Michael Myers, and then go to the middle of the house in the cave as Jason Voorhees, and then work the graveyard as Jason, kind of just in the background, hoping somebody would see me.
Yeah.
If they didn't, okay, but if they did, if I got just a little glimpse, it'd freak them out a little bit. Mm-hmm. And then we had a new cabin, a little bitty cabin in the back of the property, where I would actually come out as Jason Voorhees. And then I would cross around and come back around and change clothes while I'm doing it to play Leatherface coming out the backside.
Well, the question is, did you ever mix any accessories up with costumes or forget what you were?
At one point,
Jason wearing an apron.
At one point, I had all 3 of them combined because I literally wore the blue worksuit the entire time because Jason wore it in one of the movies. Yeah. Even though it was a little more tattered, but he did wear it in one of the movies. So I wore that. As I was running back and forth between the cabin and Leatherface, at one point I got tired of just taking the Leatherface mask off and just put the Jason mask over top of it. So I had a Jason mask over a Leatherface mask while wearing a Michael Myers. But I never got my weapons mixed up,
that's good.
Which is the important part.
As long as you scare the people who are paying to get scared, that's all that matters.
2 good stories.
All right.
One with almost a tragic ending.
Okay.
And one with a very good ending.
Cool.
Both Halloween night. We had 2 large African American groups come through, which tend to be a little more easily scared. I mean, it's not always, that's kind of a stereotype, but
yeah, it's a fun group.
Fun group, but definitely fun group.
Yeah.
So our bit was, while they were going down the trail, we had 2 rednecks that would just knew all the dark places and would hit them all the way down the trail. So the first group came through, and not only were they a predominantly African American group, they were also some homosexuals in the group. So Cameron did this bit where he would talk to them, and then Eve would pick him up, and he would come get in the cabin with me. And then when the group got down in front of the cabin, she would go, "Junior, where are you at?" And Cameron would literally jump out of the cabin. And I would be right on his heels as Jason with my machete raised high. So when I come out of the cabin, the group had already separated a little bit because Cameron had jumped out.
Yeah.
When I raised that machete, I looked and there was a tree right there. And backed up against the tree was one of the homosexuals. And literally trying to climb him and the tree at the same time was his buddy, boyfriend, whatever they were.
Yeah.
Literally trying to climb up the tree over top of him to get away from me. Which was tremendous. Screaming, hollering.
Sure, that makes you feel good.
Oh, yeah, it's what you do.
You're doing your job.
The very next group had 2 large African American women in. I got them there pretty good. I heard them screaming all the way through the house. I got them there pretty good. But when I crossed back around to go play Leatherface, I am literally at times putting the wig on as they're walking by the you know how we got that last tunnel that's wooden?
Yeah.
I could see them through the slats and I'm still putting my mask and stuff on. So about half the group had passed me. And I went to pull the saw and it just went ba-ba the first time. Well, that's all it did was go ba-ba.
Yeah.
Well, they screamed at that and started
Sorry,
and started to a fast job. So the second time I pulled it, it cranked, and I heard the biggest melee you'd ever heard in my life. I'm pretty sure they ran over at least 4 people.
Oh my God!
But in the midst of all of this, I hear thunk over top of the chainsaw. That thunk was loud enough to be over top of the chainsaw. So I'm late getting out. I go through the last curtain to the entranceway, and there's 2 women laying in the entranceway. They've got the entire thing blocked. I about stepped on them because I normally follow the whole group out.
Yeah.
So I pulled up short because they were laying in front of them. But the chainsaw's still going. I'm still trying to scare something. Wah, 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 wah. Well, they both jump up. That thunk was one of the women had run head on into the wall.
Oh my God! Bless her heart.
Busted herself wide. I mean, with her head.
Oh no!
Busted herself wide open. So when I'm still trying to scare people, and the one woman's got the other one, and she's got her in her arms, and she's like, "Just breathe, just breathe, just breathe." I am cracking up because I think it's funny as hell. They literally had to lay the girl out on the picnic table and patch her up. I mean, she had blood. I couldn't see it.
And you're just standing over.
Yeah, I'm just standing at the entranceway going, wah, 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 with that chainsaw. And I hear over my microphone, "Sammie, get back inside.
Cut it out."
So I back away. I still don't. All I saw was 2 women laying in the front. I didn't realize she.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. The girl working concession said it looked like Carrie. I mean, her face is just a crimson mask of blood where she has busted her head open.
That's terrible.
And I hate it. And I asked later on how she was and that kind of stuff. But that was some funny shit.
See, you really should have gotten her. She should have got her money's worth. You should have gone to the hospital later, and when she comes out of the door, just follow her out to her car.
Oh, I follow people to cars this year. Me and Mark followed them.
But you got to follow them home. This is the next step in the evolution.
Mark, who played Twisty on the weekends, got in a car one night. He talked to it was 3 teenage girls, and Dad didn't go through, so he was scaring them out in the parking lot. And while they were inside, Mark went and asked Dad if he could get in the car. So when they got back, me and him chased them to the parking lot, and then Mark jumped in the car, and that was the funniest thing. There is arms and limbs and screaming and kicking and.
I wish I could have been a fly on the wall for that.
There's the reason we do it.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you had an eventful Halloween, probably better than mine. Took the girls trick-or-treating, and then I got so drunk. I got so drunk by myself over a campfire on Halloween.
Well, that's kind of sad.
We couldn't podcast the next day because I was so drunk. So apologies to you, Sammie.
No, it's okay.
Okay, let's get into our movie. We're talking The Fugitive, the 25-year-old adaptation of the TV show.
Have you ever seen the TV show?
I have not seen the TV show.
And that's. I was thinking about this last night. Was this the first to take a TV show and adapt it as a movie? Is this the movie that started that craze?
No, I mean that's been done for a long time. I mean, even back in the 70s, well, you had. I'm thinking you got shows based on movies and then movies based on shows. I wouldn't say this is the first, but this may be one of the first in the 90s. There was a big trend of it in the 90s. But I
mean, it's still going on today. But
yeah,
I can't remember.
This is one of the more successful ones
where they took a TV show and instead of reimagining it or they make it into a movie. And I really couldn't think of another.
I don't know. I have to look that up. I didn't think about that. The 90s was a big decade for that.
Well, I mean, Beverly Hillbillies, Addams Family.
Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
A lot of those. I mean, this was one of the better adaptations, which is unusual. Usually the movie adaptations of a TV show is not great. And this one's pretty good.
Well, I mean, some of them are pretty good, and some of them aren't.
Yeah.
I kind of like the Beverly Hillbillies remake,
Yeah.
And I love the Addams Family.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to consider
but
Addams
Mod
Family
Squad not so good, and
yeah. I'm gonna skip ahead a little. This is gonna be one of those tough ones for me to sit and watch because there's so many great scenes I want to stop and watch throughout the movie.
And two of our generation's great actors,
I know, right?
Playing off each other. Even though they don't have a lot of scenes together.
Yeah, just a couple, just a handful.
Those scenes are tremendous.
Those are great scenes, yeah.
This, to me, and I love Men in Black.
Yeah.
I love The Devil's Own.
Yeah.
Which is one of Tommy Lee's lesser-known movies with
Harrison Ford movie?
Brad Pitt.
It's Harrison Ford.
Was that Harrison Ford?
Yeah.
Too? Wait, I thought that was... Never mind. I'm
getting your actors confused.
I'm getting my actors. No, The Devil's... Maybe it was. The one about the Irish Republican Army. Anyway.
Patriot Games.
No. No, The Devil's Own. I could have swore that was Tommy Lee Jones. Anyway, to me, this is one of Tommy Lee Jones' best performances.
Yeah, well, it won him an Oscar. He got Best Supporting Actor for this role. His one and only Oscar. He's been nominated several times, though. What's so amazing about this film is it largely you wouldn't think so, but it relies heavily on improvisation. A lot of these scenes in this film were improvised. They didn't have a completed script going into it. Really? Which is surprising. You think this is such an intricate plot with a lot of moving parts. This scene here, where he's in the first 5 minutes of the film, is where he's being interrogated by two Chicago detectives. These two guys are real Chicago detectives, retired, and the one that guy especially he acts a lot. He played a detective in the Dark Knight series. This whole scene is improvised. Harrison Ford had no idea what questions they were going to ask. They, just being homicide detectives over the years, kind of knew how this was going to go, and so they just. So what the result is, you get this very real and raw-looking scene where you get these incredible raw emotions from Harrison Ford, who looks scared to death and nervous and upset and pissed all at the same time. Yeah. And it seems legit. It doesn't seem like he's acting. He just looks like a man who's just lost his wife and is scared to death because he's being set up.
Huh. Interesting.
I know. And it's, like I said, it's one of those films. It's such an intricate plot. You wouldn't think so much of it was so improvised, but it was.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, this does sound kind of like a bullshit story. A one-armed man. Let's just be honest here. It sounds. I'd be a little bit.
A one-armed man killed your wife, and
the spouse always has a built-in motive. You know what I mean? When it comes to committing murder. Like Sammie, if you came up tomorrow with a hole in your head, I'd be like, damn, I finally did it.
Yes, you
and
did.
I wouldn't think too much of it. I'd just be like, oh, that sucks. So, as the victim, the second victim of this murder, he's got to overcome this whole idea that, I'm the spouse, but I didn't do it. Maybe I had a motive. Maybe I have a gun. And the story sounds implausible, but hey, sometimes implausible things happen.
Yeah. And is that kind of the not moral of the story? That's not the right. Is that kind of the gist of this? Is implausible stuff does happen.
I don't know. I don't know what the moral is. Maybe the moral is I don't know. If anything, I think it's him to keep pushing for what's right. Maybe I don't know, because he's the other victim of this whole thing.
The sole beneficiary?
Yes. And now he's starting to figure out, wait a damn minute, y'all actually, because I guess if you're not guilty, then if you don't think about people thinking you're guilty until
you saying that I crushed her skull.
Oh, you're right. Devil's on this Harrison Ford.
How dare you? When I came home, there was a man in my house. I fought with this man. He had a mechanical arm. You find this man. You find this man.
As I was watching yesterday, this is a movie of its time, because the difference in this stuff now, like, he wouldn't have to traipse all around the city looking for this one-armed man, or go to the prison just to see what the guy looks like, because now you can just look it up on the internet.
Yeah,
you can do it all from one spot.
His part would be totally different, and Gerard's role is totally different with technology and the internet now. He has all these different tools at his disposal to capture him. So I think, maybe this was the right movie for the right time. And, they did remake The Fugitive in 2000 and 2001 as a reboot with, I think, Tim Daly and Michael T. Williams as Gerard. For TV, yeah. And I vaguely remember it too, and it didn't... for whatever reason, it didn't really work. But
this movie does not make cops look good, like city cops. But and that time period was kind of like, okay, federal people are really smart, and city and county sheriffs are dumb as a box of rocks.
Well, but it doesn't portray them as doing anything wrong necessarily. You know what I mean? It doesn't show them, plant evidence or, try to frame him or anything. It's just they go with this theory, and it's a plausible theory, and that's, the evidence seems to match this theory.
Yeah.
Hell, she calls 911 and says, my husband, he's trying to kill me, which, someone with a severe brain injury. You can't really take a whole lot of what they say as a, but hell, to a jury, that sounds convincing as hell, Yeah. Most juries would probably convict Kimball, so. All right, let's skip ahead a little bit. Poor Richard. Okay. And he has to sit in this courtroom and listen to the last moments of his wife.
Yeah.
So the production design for his apartment at home is based on the real apartment of a doctor that Harrison Ford met and became friends with, and he wanted this film to look so realistic that he actually sent production designers to this doctor's friend's house and had them walk around the apartment and look at it.
Really?
So they based it off of.
Do your due diligence, folks.
Yeah. Something we should mention off the bat of this episode is a great deal of this film was shot here in North Carolina.
Oh, was it really?
A great deal of it, yeah.
I did not know that.
Pretty much everything that isn't, this is North Carolina, pretty much everything that isn't Chicago
Okay.
is shot in North Carolina.
Huh.
Yeah.
Did not know that.
Pretty much in the mountain region.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Directed by Andrew Davis, and this is his big claim to fame. He's made quite a few films, but nothing nearly as good as this. Under Siege was probably his biggest film before this.
Ah, that explains.
Tommy Lee Jones.
Well, and the explains. There's quite a few characters that the kid with the ponytail, where Gerard says, "Don't let him give a shit about your ponytail."
Oh yeah.
He's in Under Siege. He plays the little private that is guarding Robet's locker, or when they lock him in the freezer.
Yeah.
Who ends up letting him out?
Stephen King makes an appearance.
He does a little like Stephen King. Doesn't he?
And so this is kind of like the new Halloween. They're transporting a group of prisoners by bus, and the bus, wrecks. And this is great audio for this podcast. Thanks a lot, Cammie. My stupid pit bull Dalmatian dog, who's about 12, 13 years old.
She's thirsty.
She's very thirsty, apparently. Jesus. Are you done? Can we resume the show now?
It's all good. We're all good.
This guy with the shotgun is just about ready to shoot everybody.
And just gonna shoot everybody. It's like, okay, we're gonna wreck. Let's just shoot everybody.
So this sequence here with the bus and the train was filmed in Dillsboro, North Carolina, kind of close to Asheville. And this is one of the few places they could find that would let them do this, put a bus on a train track and then hit the bus with the train. So this are real practical effects. These are not models. It's not CGI. They actually did this. We're going to skip a little bit ahead.
They had to have done, but how did they do the derailment?
They really did it.
Huh.
They actually rigged
that's
to go off the...
Him jumping off that's a little CGI though.
So him, okay. We'll go back here just a second.
Because you can see
him jumping off. They filmed him jumping off something and then superimposed that over.
You can tell.
But the bus, the train hitting the bus.
Right.
There. Yep. Yep. He's got that little glow to him.
Yeah.
Yeah. All this is real, shot in Dillsboro, and you can actually go to, I think there's a museum in Dillsboro where you can still see a lot of the props and costumes and stuff from this film.
Oh, cool.
And I think they actually have turned the train or part of this train into like a dinner cart thing. And they do promote it as the Fugitive train.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Little towns making tourist dollars.
Shit just got blown up. That's a hell of a
wreck.
Yeah.
Hell of a wreck. And everybody dies but Kimball and the two guards and this one other inmate.
One of my favorite little things I noticed when I was doing some research. Listen to the sound effects. So Harrison Ford has got shackles on his feet and his hands and is tied to his waist. So he's running as hard as he can, but his arms and legs can only go so far. So he's making these weird.
His hands are released, but his ankle.
Well, I think his ankles.
Yeah.
So he's running as well as he can. It's still not great, but I just the little sound effects. I love that you can hear the rustling of his chains as he's running over the crash of a train, which the train itself is so loud you wouldn't be able to hear anything.
Yeah.
But I just love that. This is good movie making. You hear the rustling of these chains. I can just see some Foley guy with like jingle bells, just sitting in a Foley screen. Just every time he moves, they jingle it.
That's funny.
Even when he's
I
like,
hadn't thought about that.
It's just I've never thought about it until I was rewatching this. Every time he moves under the thing, he just. Okay, now we have the arrival of the U.S. Marshals on scene.
With one of the great lines in movie history.
Yeah. And I'm not 100% sure why they are in control, and I think maybe they explain it here in a second that they have some sort of jurisdiction. I don't understand what jurisdiction they have though.
Oh, really?
Because I don't think he's not a federal prisoner. He's convicted of murder, but he's an escaped fugitive. That doesn't necessarily put him under their jurisdiction. Maybe it did in the 90s. I don't know that it would now. But but he does explain here in a second. They somehow have control over the situation.
Sheriff Rollins, I'd like to recommend checkpoints on a 15-mile radius at I-57, I-24, and over here.
He tries to do it nicely at first.
Yeah. And that guy's not having none of it. Don't you come in here, my small town, and freaking.
Well, shit, Sheriff. I'd hate to see that happen, so I guess I'll take over your investigation.
On whose authority?
On what authority? Governor of the state of Illinois, the United States Marshal's Office, 5th District, Northern Illinois.
All right, fine. You want jurisdiction over this mess? You got it. Okay, boys, gather around here and listen up. We're shutting it down. Wyatt Earp.
Pisses him off.
Oh, wow, gee whiz, look here. We're always fascinated when we find leg irons with no legs in them. Who held the keys, sir? Me. Where are those keys at?
Might change your story.
I don't know.
Revise your statement, sir.
What? Do you want to change your bullshit story, sir? He might have got out. He might have got
What
out.
the hell is this? A minute ago you're telling me.
Whoops.
He might have got it.
He might have got it. Oh, here it is. One of the great monologues.
Yeah.
That gives us a radius of 6 miles. What I want out of each and every one of you is a hard target search of every gas station, residence, warehouse, farmhouse, henhouse, outhouse, or doghouse in that area. Checkpoints go up to 15 miles.
And everybody uses that line. Anytime you talk about searching for something, that's you use it.
Go get it.
Or at least I do. Except I get it all wrong because I can't remember all of it. But it's always every outhouse, doghouse, farmhouse.
Yeah, but you do that now, 25 years later. Most of the kids around you are like, "What the fuck is he talking about?"
Yeah. The hell's an outhouse? The hell's a doghouse? Our dog lives in our house.
Yeah, all this exterior scenes in North Carolina. Even when he gets to the hospital here in a few minutes.
Spends a lot of time swimming around in a river too.
Yeah.
Between this and
This looks like a little North Carolina town in the mountains, doesn't it?
instead of a suburb of Chicago.
2 miles southwest.
Robert, yo, type that blood matching against all 4 prisoners. Right,
I love what a dick Gerard can be to his people sometimes too. This is so funny.
He literally.
Follow the troopers. Billy?
Yes.
What are you doing?
I'm thinking.
Well, think me up a cup of coffee and a chocolate donut with some of those little sprinkles on it.
Oh, he gets human shit.
Yeah, he does, doesn't he? Especially after later in the movie. All right.
So, I think it all sums it up here shortly when they have their little run in the tunnel. Mm-hmm. He don't care about nothing except getting the job done.
It's not his. Yeah, that part is done.
Yeah,
he's already been convicted. It doesn't matter at that point to him.
But I mean, that kind of tells you what kind of person he is because he doesn't give a shit about his people. He doesn't give a shit about his In the sequel, they kind of give him a little
bit of
little humanity to him, but in this,
more.
nah, he's just like, I got a job and let's do it.
Hey, Doc, we're looking for a prisoner from
And do what I tell you.
train wreck a couple hours ago. Might be hurt. What does he look like?
So they had toyed around in some drafts of the script. Kimball does something to change his appearance by adding on stuff, adding a beard. They really didn't want their big star Harrison Ford to go the whole film with a beard. They didn't like that he goes the first 30 minutes with a beard.
Yeah.
So eventually shaves it off.
Changing appearances for a film.
Pain in the ass.
How would you do that? I'm not shaving my beard, so we'll have to figure something else out.
I'm growing a beard. Got no shave November at my workplace. Yeah.
I'm still digging makeup out of my ears.
I love this. Even in his predicament, he's still being a doctor. He's still...
Yeah. Well, I mean, he still cares.
Yeah, he's still a good guy.
And
he's still the damn ambulance.
And it gives him... it's... He's an escaped fugitive, and technically he should be the bad guy.
And your audience has to like him too. If he keeps doing good things while trying to clear his name and not, get sentenced to death in prison, he's.
There's a one-armed man. Lots of friends, doctors, hospital staff.
Okay, we're gonna start right there. I want phone taps.
So part of this film being as improvised as it was, like I said, is that Harrison Ford's actually driving this ambulance, and they didn't necessarily have a really well mapped out route where the hell. Oh, really? they were getting behind schedule and stuff, and eventually, from what I understand, he just told them, like, just put a camera guy in the van with me, and they're like, you want to do that? And he's like, hell yeah, I'll do it. And so he's just driving around these windy North Carolina roads, literally just him and this camera guy for a lot of these shots. Okay, now they're over I'm going to pronounce this name, Chioa Dam in Topoko, North Carolina.
Okay.
Which I'm guessing is Cherokee country. I don't know.
Probably.
Watch this. Ooh, that always gets me every time I see it. Freaking Tommy Lee Jones almost gets his foot.
Oh, underneath the helicopter.
Underneath the helicopter.
So yeah, they ended up just crediting a writer, but most of the whole thing's improvised.
Well, it's funny that the script. This film had been in development for about 4 or 5 years before they finally got a hold of the right people at the right time to make it happen. It went through 9 writers and 25 drafts.
Good God.
Before, and some of the old drafts had really weird things like Gerard was the real bad guy who had set up the one-armed man to kill Kimball's wife.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so weird drafts. So eventually, Harrison Ford had been interested in it before, but from all the different drafts, he's like, none of these are good. I don't want any part of it. But they got one that was good enough to him. And he was like, well, it's good, but it's not great. I'm going to help you pull it apart and work on it. So even Harrison Ford is uncredited, but he did a lot of work on the script. Yeah. And honestly, he did a lot of work behind the scenes of this film, too. And it's not because he wants creative control. He wants the film that he's the star of to be good.
Yeah.
He's got a lot at stake here. When he spends a lot of time making a movie and he's the star, if that flops or if it sucks, it makes him look bad. So okay, now they're in the tunnels searching for Kimball.
Holds the record for the number of film editors nominated for an Oscar. There's 6 editors on the movie.
Usually you see that many editors or something when a film has been rushed, when they're trying to make a certain release date, I think, if I'm not mistaken, they finished filming this in like spring of '93 and it had like a summer '93 release. So they were pretty rushed.
Yeah, said it had one of the fastest post-production schedules ever.
Oh, wow.
Shot in 73 days.
So now Gerard is by himself. He's on the right trail. I mean, this place is like a maze. There's no telling where he could be. And
this is a really good scene setting up or showing us how Gerard and Kimball are gonna interact with each other.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and it has the line, "I don't care," but
you should have put your gun up for you.
before you try to run down there. And the doctor made it down better than you did as a police officer.
Yeah.
I didn't kill my wife. I don't care.
And just the look on his face is like, I really don't give a shit.
So this famous line of "I don't care" was another one of those things that was ad-libbed by Tommy Lee Jones. There was another line in the script that was not nearly as interesting or fun as, and telling about his character. That informs the audience a lot about who Gerard is. He doesn't give a shit. Like we said earlier, that's not his job. He's got one job, that's to capture him and bring him back to justice, and that's it. So. But this is what happens when you hire the right people for the right jobs, you know? You get an actor like Tommy Lee Jones that says, that line's not good, and I've got a better line, you know, and you trust him. And you let him go with it.
Yeah.
I think most people would have just shot Harrison Ford at this point if he's holding the gun, you know? This is another iconic scene in the film.
Yeah, and another good little line from Tommy Lee Jones.
So they had to build a rig on the outside of the dam that started from a truck on top of the dam that craned over and then held a camera operator on the other side of the tunnel in order to shoot these scenes. And that's actually Harrison Ford going into a pool.
What?
Yeah. Well, not
sure,
diving.
I started saying I thought for sure that was a dummy. It kind of
going into the water.
That.
That's actually Harrison Ford with a camera guy diving into a pool.
Ah, okay. The guy did a Peter Pan right here off of this dam.
All right, can we go home now? No.
Joe Pantoliano.
And he knows exactly what he wants to do, and that he's the boss of bosses.
Yeah.
And the one-liners he has that aren't supposed to be funny but are.
It's just his delivery.
Yeah.
He gets so worked up over
that line. Then it ought to be easy to catch.
Yeah.
The line a little bit later on, they're like, "Oh, come on, that guy's fish food." And he said, "Well, you go get a cane pole and you catch the fish that ate him."
Okay, so now Richard's back on the run. And he's got a bad injury. You don't think about it too much, but he's got injured from the initial wreck on his side, which he's been able to treat very minimally Okay, we're going to skip ahead to a scene where the U.S. Marshals have tracked down one of the escaped fugitives to a house, and they've done a raid.
Yeah, but they've set it all up where you think it's Kimball that they've found.
But it's a very, it seems to be like a haphazard raid to me. It's just them. It's just a group of, this small group of
Gerard's U.S. Marshals.
Gerard's and his people. It's not like a good team. And so, of course, what happens? One of the guys gets captured. And he wants to bargain. He's trying to come up with a deal. He's got one of the U.S. Marshals held hostage. Got his own gun to his head.
And it's just so matter of fact. It just, Noah's this young kid that kind of training and
Yeah.
how much shit would he get in for this? He just shot.
Shut up.
And she shuts up too. He just shot a black man in Chicago.
Yeah, but the guy had a gun to one of his officers' head. I wouldn't think that'd be too much trouble at all.
You don't think?
No.
Even in this day and age?
No.
Okay.
No, I mean, the guy had a gun holding a guy hostage, especially another place, law enforcement agent hostage. And you think you're going to have this tender moment where he's trying to make him feel better. He comes outside and he's nearly deaf from the gun blast that shot right next to his head.
You think I should have bargained with that guy? Yeah. I did. You could have missed. You could have killed me. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about that here?
It's terrible. I'm going to have permanent hearing damage.
Let me see it. Can you hear what I'm saying now?
Such fatherly love.
I don't bargain. Hear that? Yeah.
Kid's pissed at him too, boy. He's pissed.
I think you have to understand there's a level of danger that's inherent in this job. You have to understand that.
They do some good aerial shots in this movie.
Well, I heard Andrew Davis talking about the aerial shots, about how important it was for him to set this tone of a needle in the haystack kind of thing. They're trying to find this one man amongst this big city.
Yeah.
All these people running around. They're trying to find one guy. And so they wanted to, visually have these aerial shots throughout the film to kind of give that feeling.
Walter, this is Richard.
And I like how one thing I like about this movie,
Wasn't worried about appearances.
subtle stuff. And we talk about this a lot in movies. The subtle stuff. It's why you spend that extra little bit on set dressing, and because it's the subtle stuff that sometimes makes the movie. And for this movie, it's how many times he has close run-ins with police officers. Like there, he's getting ready to cross the street, and there's a siren, and he's always on edge for the cops.
Yeah.
Everywhere he sees them, the hospital he runs it, even a security guard kind of puts him on edge. And it just continues to build and build and build. But he's still got the mindset that I'm gonna find this killer. I'm gonna find this guy that killed my wife.
St. Louis. So he showed up not dead yet.
So he started doing the things that you shouldn't do if you're a man on the run, which is contacting your friends and people that you know who can get you in trouble. That's how people get caught.
Walter, this is Richard.
But he uses it to his advantage later on.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So.
Well, it's for a purpose. You know? And he reached out to his lawyer, who's really shouldn't. Which I think is which is awesome that he's on a payphone and he remembers his lawyer's phone number off the top of his head, which is. I guess if I've been convicted of murder, I probably would too.
All right. No. It's a different time now. Because everyone has their number stored in their phone.
Yeah, we don't remember numbers.
I can still tell you my phone number in the house I grew up in. Because I remember you had to remember your phone numbers.
I think I can too. To be honest with you.
So that was a different time. You had to remember those numbers or the numbers you called a lot or your friends or because you couldn't just walk around with a pad with everybody's phone number.
Especially him.
Yeah.
I remember the phone number to my freshman year dorm room, the hardline number, which I still use at Harris Teeter for my Vic.
Oh, do you really?
Account. I'm gonna tell you guys right now what it is over the podcast. You can call the number if you want because I haven't called it in 15 years, but it's close to Jenny. The song.
Okay.
8675309.
Yeah.
Okay, that's how I remember the number. It's 6875302. 704-687-5302. Listeners, give that number a call and just.
Funny enough, 867 is a High Point extension.
Is it?
And there's somebody in High Point with Jenny's number.
5309.
And I've heard of people actually requesting not to get that number because people still call it all the time.
Still?
Yep.
Wow.
But that's a High Point extension, 867.
That's funny. Okay, so now we're being reintroduced to this sleazy doctor in Chicago who Richard makes himself known to.
Well, he's one of Richard's friends.
He's one of Richard's friends, but we're going to find out later he's really the culprit behind this whole.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. But he's playing it out really well, Just gives him some money and.
In wrestling terms, we call this a swerve.
Yes.
Because they build it up. I mean, he helps him. He does everything. But you can, in hindsight. See, another run-in with the cop. You got a green light, move along. Why are you giving that homeless man money? You dumb doctor. But he's helping Richard, but he still seems sleazy, especially his interactions with Gerard.
Yeah. So now Gerard is talking with the detectives from the original case saying, hey, so we're trying to learn more about Richard so we can capture him. Why did he kill his wife? And I'm like, they don't really have good answers here. Well, he needed to do it for the money.
She said it.
So their plan now is just to let Kimball get comfortable and settle down somewhere and then try to find him.
That's a pretty good role for Joe Pantalonio, too.
Yeah.
Cosmo, who was supposed to die in this movie.
Yeah.
And he lobbied successfully to save him.
Y'all
might want to do a sequel based around my character. Can you see him going, hey, maybe I shouldn't die,
Well, I think he basically just asked him at the end of it, he's like, hey, when they show me being carried down a stretcher, can I start kicking and moving around like I'm still alive? And they're like, yeah, fine, do it. And he told this to Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford was like, there's not going to be sequels to this movie. Which,
Celia Ward did the same thing.
Oh, yeah, she wanted
to live, too. So show me in a coma or something.
That's the person who really has to die.
Everybody this was after a lot of Steven Seagal's movies where he's always in a coma and comes back and destroys everything. So maybe she decided she wanted to be in the sequel.
That's kind of the only person that really has to die in this film for it to make sense,
And he has such weird fashion sense. One time he's wearing jeans with a button-up shirt and a tie. The next thing you know,
it's the 90s.
Next thing you know, he's in a coat with a scarf.
Yeah.
it just doesn't seem and
Yeah, but he looked cool as shit in 1993.
and it's funny when the one-armed guy, when Kimmel goes into his apartment and he comes in and he goes, "What is this, the trench coat brigade?" And what's he got on a trench coat?
Yeah,
It's like everybody's wearing trench coats. It's a cop thing.
So Kimball's doing all kinds of research about prosthetics and people with one arms, and he's even getting himself a fake job at the hospital so he can do more in-person research, which nowadays he would just do on the internet.
And he's, the skeezy doctor tells him, you're not going to catch him. He's smarter than all of us. So he's doing his due diligence.
Yeah.
Her role, Julianne Moore role in this got her a look for a meeting with Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
For Lost World.
For Lost World, yeah. She was already a pretty good actress in the 90s, and I think the 90s was really her decade her career took off. She, I think they hired her, such a good caliber actress, because I think the initial thought was they wanted her doctor character to be a love interest for Harrison Ford. And I think even Jane Lynch's character was set up to be a love interest, but because that's just like a Hollywood movie studio thing. They want to have your main character has to have a love interest. And
so weird to see Jane Lynch as anything but Sue from Glee. She's such an ass in that show.
But I don't think this plays well if
if
he's mourning the death of his wife and he's got a love interest. It doesn't work.
He's trying to find her wife's killer.
He doesn't got time for that. She is looking nice though in this movie.
I'm just with Julianne Moore.
Oh, I love
it's a ginger
Julianne.
thing, isn't it?
Yeah, she does it for me. We got to do Boogie Nights sometime on the show. That's a good movie.
I don't know that I've seen that movie all the way through.
Oh, it's so good.
Right? You almost could see.
Why would he be stupid enough?
You could almost.
I love that guy. A one-armed guy walks through him, and then it's like that spark that they're trying to. Why would he be here? Mm-hmm. There's a good reason why he would be here.
See the coat and the scarf.
You guys have a problem?
No.
No problem at all.
Apparently, there's like a clinic for one-armed people in Chicago,
and in the county hospital, just random. It's not in a special hospital.
Works really well for this film as a plot device. Okay.
Old ass computer that he printed the stuff off on, and he was when he was getting it, he was freaking taking the broom and running across the blinds so you couldn't hear the noise of the computer.
Yeah, you don't want anybody wondering why is the janitor printing things up, and they just walk right past each other in the hallway at the courthouse, I guess.
And Gerard's smart.
Yeah,
Kimball's
call
just
him by
smart.
name.
So
shit.
I mean, he's so used
And
to
it's
hearing his
on.
own name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, someone's called your name, you stop and go, oh shit, Now it's on. This is a great foot chase scene.
Especially the ending.
Yes.
But again, different time frame. You pick up a cell phone and call downstairs and like get that door closed.
We're on lockdown. Do something.
Somebody close, because he's probably left somebody at the front. So
He's got his dyed black hair too.
somebody stop that man. And this is still a little deal with Kimball too. There's a man back there waving a gun.
Yeah. Trying to run in a crowd and not look suspicious.
Yeah.
That's hard to do.
I can imagine. At a woman, which made it that much worse. See, he's got a guy down there.
And it's nearly curtains for Richard. They're closing the door on him, which is a bulletproof door, apparently.
Zach and yeah, I mean they probably are. And the one last guy trying to reach out, like the punter trying to stop the touchdown.
That's that look of frustration on his face.
And they just start shooting.
Now that might be controversial.
Shooting in a crowded place.
Him
like
shooting
that.
at a crowded place in an unarmed man, yeah. Legally speaking, can he do it? He can. Is it something that's bad PR, bad publicity? Yeah. Now, okay, part of the improvisation of this film, this entire St. Patrick's Day sequence was totally improvised and unscheduled.
Yeah.
And they didn't even include it in a scheduled shooting day because Warner Brothers wouldn't let them do it. So they shot their entire scheduled day and then got a couple actors and camera crew and did this extra, like overtime. That's pretty ballsy for a freaking big studio film like this with two major stars. You know, that's just.
And they're wanting. Now they did get permission from the mayor.
They got permission from the city to do it. They were not able to shut anything down or stop or slow the parade. So he's literally just walking into.
They put Harrison Ford, Tommy Lee Jones, and said, "Here, go do your thing." And
do
they
your
did their thing.
And he's just walking, and Tommy Lee Jones just looking into carriages, doing things, and none of these other people are part of it. This is so amazing.
That nobody reacts.
No, yeah.
Because nowadays people be like, they'd stop and
they've
talk
got probably 2 hours of footage of people going, Harrison Ford! They had to cut all that out to the parts where...
There's Han Solo walking down the street.
Why is your hair black?
Are you filming a movie? Can I be in it?
Ooh, I'm going to be in the movie too.
Yeah. Oh, look, they're shooting a movie over there. Hey. Remember that?
Yeah.
In the middle of the night in Greensboro.
I'm going to be in a movie. No, you're not.
No, but I'm going to scare the shit out of you when you walk by me.
You remember the old Saturday Night Live sketch with the super fans from Chicago?
Oh, yeah.
Pretty sure. You know, they had Da Bears.
Yeah. George Wendt
Da Bulls.
And
Chris Farley.
And
Mike Myers, was it?
Yeah, Mike Myers was one.
Pretty sure that's him right there. That's one of the super fans.
Oh, it could be, yeah.
I'm just saying it's one of the Chicago stereotypical looking super fans.
Kind of like George Wendt's character.
I just had a massive heart attack.
I think John Goodman played it a couple times. Dog Bears.
Chris Farley has a heart attack and he coughs up a steak.
That's funny.
Okay.
I don't have any comment on that one. The chronology straight here. The suspect was tried.
I don't understand the purpose of this scene. I mean, it's just it's kind of like here's a recap scene.
Maybe it is. Maybe it's like, hey, you just shot like 9 times in public. You know, what was that about?
It reiterates the fact that the Chicago Police Department are idiots.
Yeah.
What are you going to do next to try to catch him?
We have no further comment.
We're gonna put on another trench coat and a beanie and walk around the city some more.
Get my scarf.
Hotel men only. Interesting.
Old school.
It's called Hostel.
All right.
Bet
So we're
there's not only men in that place.
Ooh, I bet they didn't get permission either. We're definitely out of North Carolina at this part of the film, so it's all Chicago.
It's a weird little.
So okay, let's talk about some alternate casting. You know, I said
There's
just
no big city in the background.
no. I guess this is outskirts maybe. This film was in development for a while before it ever got made. It came close to being made by director Walter Hill, who made The Warriors and 48 Hours, with Nick Nolte as Richard Kimball, which may have been decent, but wouldn't have been this. For a while, John Voight was attached to play Gerard, and so was Gene Hackman. And I could see Gene Hackman. He's not He wouldn't be Tommy Lee Jones, but he'd be still pretty good.
Yeah, I can't see John Voight too.
Another good actor who I think could have done good in this job playing Kimball was Christopher Reeve. Was up for the role.
Bet he looked bad in a beard though.
Probably, yeah. at one point...
Okay, do you pick Han Solo or Superman to play this character?
At one point, Alec Baldwin was attached to the script and quit.
Okay, the arm thing kind of cracks me up. What the hell was
Those crazy one-armed people?
What the hell was the movie where they went and grabbed the guy? Well, there's this infamous. Okay, same in my wrestling analogies. There was a wrestler named Kerry Von Erich who lost his foot in a motorcycle accident and wrestled with a prosthetic in his boot. And urban legend is that he was wrestling and somebody went to put a toe hold on him and pulled his foot off. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know. But anyway, that's kind of a hokey thing. There was something else where somebody pulled his whole leg off, and I can't remember what it was. But anyway,
well, I think visually for the film, it helps to show that when you're fighting with a one-armed man, it's a one-armed man because he pulled his damn arm off.
Yeah.
It's just too bad he didn't keep it there. You'd have some good evidence.
It's amazing how far prosthetics have come.
Yeah, I guess
25 years too.
Yeah. So now he's tracked down the one-armed man. He knows his name. He's actually in his apartment, and he's finding checks, pay stubs from Devlin McGregor, the pharmaceutical company. He's actually finding pictures of the one-armed man with CEO of Devlin McGregor.
And again, reiterating how smart and how observant he is.
Yeah.
I pride myself on being fairly observant.
Yeah.
So these little flashbacks kind of make me smile. Because you just notice stuff.
Yeah.
And some people have a knack for it, some people don't,
He's really put the pieces together at this point. He's starting to figure out that this pharmaceutical company had his wife killed, and probably it was to have the idea was to have him killed. Not his wife. And
he said later on, I was the target.
He was the target. That's the only thing that makes sense. And also, in turn, the U.S. Marshals are starting to realize that, hey, the whole purpose of him doing this is he's trying to catch his wife's killer.
Yeah.
They're not trying to help him, but they kind of realize that this is why he's in town. This is why he keeps showing up at these places.
This kind of cracks me up. They're like, there's another Richard Kimball call, and so they've had
another Richard Kimball.
They've had 100 phone calls.
Yeah, I forgot about this scene in the movie. He's actually trying to tip them off at this point,
and they're joking. Yeah. They're like, "Tell him he looks good in the beard,"
Yeah.
We ought to be sipping some whiskey.
Whoops! It's like,
shut up.
Yeah, I remember. It was noisy. I think you said something like.
Way to stall.
Remember what you told me. I remember you were pointing my gun at me.
Snap.
You said, "I don't care."
He's on the south side.
Yeah. That's right. I don't care. I'm not trying to solve a puzzle here. Well, I am trying to solve a puzzle.
5 seconds location.
And I just found a big piece. Richard.
And it's not until he still doesn't care. It's not until he gets in the building, in this room, in this apartment, that he starts caring.
Yeah.
Start going, wait a minute.
Yeah.
He is. This was kind of stupid too.
What?
I mean, I understand why he did it, but he knows there's a cop car outside. He knows they can be there in like 2 seconds. You might want to map your escape plan before, because he almost gets caught right here.
Figure it out before you go in.
Yeah. And you come in and people all in your apartment just dusting that black shit. All that stuff is so hard to get off. I know. I've had break-ins at the shop, and it's come in and dust everything.
I'm sure it's messy.
It is.
Yeah. So the Kimball's prints are all over the room.
How the hell would you know that?
Shirts and
photographs.
I've studied his prints. I can identify them by sight.
By sight. for the purposes of the movie, yes.
Yeah, it makes sense. And now here this one-armed asshole comes in.
And Ford LTDs everywhere.
Yeah.
Stereotypical cop car from 95. 93, whatever it was.
How you doing? Psych?
He's looking around, looking all shifty. He's looking like a guilty man.
Yeah, but I mean, he's an ex-cop, so...
Yeah, but he's guilty as sin. He's just, that look on his face, he's looking all around at them. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit for the interest of time.
The Dr. Richard Kimball was going.
That's where he told him, don't let him give you shit about your ponytail.
I love this. He's on the L train, and the guy sitting across from him recognizes him in the newspaper. And I just love his reaction.
Whoops.
Please don't tell me.
I think I'll move.
I gotta go take a piss.
That's a pussa.
I got a funny little scene we gotta take a break here in a second to talk about. I just happened to remember this when I was doing some research. Oh, there's the one-armed man, the bastard.
Where did he come from?
Well, we skipped too much of the movie. I don't remember. He followed him.
He's following him.
He's like, round 2, bitch. I got my arm attached back on. I got a gun this time. You're screwed now.
Even though there's a transit cop right behind me. Hey, I'm gonna take your arm off and beat you to death.
Kill my wife. He needs his bullet.
Ow, boy.
Okay. Did you ever watch the TV show Scrubs?
No.
Okay. The actor who plays the cop here is named Neil Flynn, who's a funny actor. He's been in a lot of stuff. But he's on the show Scrubs. And he's the janitor in Scrubs. And he's a real asshole to the main character played by Zach Braff.
Okay.
And there's this scene. So I thought one of the funniest things I've ever seen on the show Scrubs. This show's 15 years old.
I
But
won't, sweetie. Trust me.
Let's go.
Zach and his friends are sitting around watching The Fugitive. And so they worked it into the show where the janitor was the actor who played.
You know why I wanted that to be you in The Fugitive? Because of me, used to be a guy who had dreams and ambitions. And even though things didn't work out the way you hoped, at least it'll explain why you are the way you are and make you human. But instead, it turns out you're nothing more than a jerk that just likes to mess with people for no reason.
Kimbo?
You tell anybody to kill you.
That's funny.
Just a funny little moment from Scrubs that I totally forgotten about. I just remembered when I saw this scene earlier.
Terrible punch, Harrison. Terrible punch.
If anybody in Hollywood knows how to throw a good movie punch, you'd think Harrison Ford. From all the Indiana Jones movies and...
No, his Indiana Jones punch is terrible too. He's so
he telegraphs.
He's so straightforward. Yeah, he telegraphs ain't the word for it. So the janitor from Scrubs is dead.
And now he looks like a cop killer.
Yep.
Should take his other arm as evidence.
What if you accidentally handcuffed the wrong arm? He's standing right behind you. How the hell did you get out?
take his arm off and just beat him with it. Damn. Good kick.
Now, he's good at busting out glasses. He's just terrible at punching.
It's the second time he's jumped out of a window.
In a train.
Of a train.
Yeah, I know where he's going.
All right, so now they've tracked him down
No side effects.
where
It is also noteworthy that, obviously, so if you just
he's decided to confront the big bad of the film in front of everybody.
Yeah, he's kind of figured it out now. Or he has figured it
I'll
out.
be back in just I know all about it.
Oh, and he embarrasses the shit out of him as
Yeah.
he's walking off that podium, too.
He calls him a murderer in front of everybody.
My friend Richard Kimball doesn't feel well, obviously, so if you just go on with your dessert and coffee
And everybody else is like, which one's the psycho? He's creepy. This guy looks kind of good. And,
so I'll be back in just a second.
but one's a respected doctor, the other one's a convicted murderer.
You changed the samples, didn't you? You switched the samples.
I love this asshole with the spotlight. He's following them as they move off the stage.
Stay calm.
After Lens died, you were the only one who had the access.
This is the most exciting thing any of these people have seen ever.
Oh, yes. By far and away. Ooh, heavens. Oh, my God, he shoved him.
He pushed him.
He falsified his research so that our DU-90 could be approved and Devlin McGregor could give you Provasic.
That sounds like a real drug.
It does.
All right, it's all right, folks. Let's just
I'm sure this sort of things actually happen in real life.
Everyone stay calm. The police are on their way.
I don't trust pharmaceutical companies.
Oh, God, who does? Nobody should. As I take a handful of drugs every day to save my life.
One thing I wanted to mention here before
This floppy hair.
Yeah, I know. This is features one of my favorite scores from the '90s by James Newton Howard. I feel like this is a really good film score. It's a good one.
It's good. It's got some kind of hokey music in it too. Very copy
Yeah.
kind of music, which I guess is appropriate. But the one-armed man shot the wrong guy.
So this film was nominated Best Picture in 1993 at the Oscars and was beat by Schindler's List.
Understandable. Fugitive's good. It's not Schindler's List.
It's not Schindler's List. Yeah, I agree.
You know, it's a pretty good fight between two doctors.
Yeah, I know, right?
That's a hell of a fall.
Good job there, dude.
I'm sure that was a stunt guy, but
Yeah.
Harrison Ford been like, get out of the way. Let me show you how it's
Let me
done.
show you how I fall.
He gets hurt every time. He tore some ligaments on this shoot. And,
Yeah, I heard
that. Had a limp for the rest of the movie. He's like, it'll be all right.
He's a very hands-on actor. Sorry.
This is a very 90s movie.
Yeah.
Under Siege. And it's all these kind of copy kind of movies. 48 Hours to some extent, you know. This is a little more anything with Harrison Ford. Air Force One.
Yeah. It's a pretty good, straightforward thriller. You know, you got a good guy and a bad guy, and actually, no, you've got a good guy being chased by another good guy.
Yeah,
and the first good guy is trying to catch the bad guy. And the second good guy is trying to catch.
So it's a little bit of a swerve.
It is.
It's a swerve that his best friend is the guy that.
Where'd they go?
Is the guy that actually set him up or killed his wife or whatever. I mean, it's supposed to be his buddy. It also shows greed.
Yeah. Now in the
and it shows how tough ass Chicago doctors are.
That's right.
They beat the hell out of each
right.
other, fall down on the elevator.
Yeah. He's still ready to kill.
Still fight another day, and he got with 2 hairs out of place.
He's got a lot of bad blood makeup on his face.
Okay, we gotta talk. We have to mention the pseudo sequel.
Yes. U.S. Marshals.
That they didn't even want to call The Fugitive 2.
No.
They called it U.S. Marshals because it's more about Tommy Lee Jones' character than it is anything. But doesn't Wesley Snipes run through the same little freaking laundry kind of place?
I don't remember. I've only seen it maybe once or twice, and I did not care for it. But Wesley Snipes was the fugitive in U.S. Marshals, and
I think he runs through a little laundry place just like this too.
Robert Downey Jr. played the bad guy who had set him up, and it basically is a similar circumstance to this one, just not as good.
It's a vehicle for Tommy Lee Jones.
It's a vehicle for Tommy Lee Jones to reprise his Oscar-winning character and to look like a badass again, and I'm sure he's good in it. He's good in whatever he's in. But
oh God, he's a freaking. And I love Under Siege. So even the second
seen that one in years.
Oh, that and Gary Busey, Tommy Lee Jones, because Tommy Lee Jones plays a bad guy in that movie.
Blown Away was a good one. You remember that one? He plays the bad guy in that.
Yeah.
With Jeff Bridges.
Yeah.
It's just good to see Tommy Lee Jones be the villain.
Country for Old Men. That is just amazing.
Yeah.
That's again, you've got probably 2 of the top 5 iconic characters of our generation, or actors of our generation.
Yeah.
Poor Cosmo.
Richard, give it up.
And in years future, they talk about Cary Grant and they talk about Jimmy Stewart and they talk about they're going to talk about Tommy Lee Jones and Harrison Ford and Tom Hanks and
Yeah.
and we know my love for Men in Black. So
You excited about
and
this new
Star
Men in Black
Wars
movie?
And there's a new one.
Yeah, they just
Is it really?
They just finished making it. Yeah,
I hadn't heard about that.
It doesn't have him in it. Stars Chris Hemsworth.
Oh really?
Yeah.
God, he's becoming the remake king.
Oh yeah, they just finished making it.
Huh?
It's him and I can't remember her name, but she was in Thor Ragnarok.
Natalie Portman
played Valkyrie.
Oh,
Tessa. Yeah, it'll come.
Tessa Thompson. I think it's
Maybe.
Tessa Thompson.
But yeah, it's the 2 of them.
Interesting.
I can't remember. I don't even know what it's called, but it's the new Men in Black movie.
Did not know that. Chris Hemsworth, the remake king. Ghostbusters. Maybe he'll do a Fugitive next. Okay, let's recast the Fugitive.
All right. Like I said, it's already been done with Michael T. Williams playing Gerard. That's Bubba from Forrest Gump playing Gerard, and Tim Daly playing Kimball.
Bubba from Forrest Gump. I thought that was Nicolette Williamson.
Yeah, that's he played Gerard in the new.
Oh, okay.
So who would be a good Kimball for 2018?
Good question. Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah. He's too much of a smartass, though. Maybe he's not as empathetic as you'd like to see.
Then Chris Evans, staying in the Marvel Universe.
Yeah. Chris Evans is good.
So Chris Evans and who would be a good smarmy cop?
Samuel L. Jackson. That guy's gonna be acting.
That's called Iron Man 4.
That's right. He's gonna be acting until he's like 100.
Yep.
And he's still gonna look like he's.
Oh, Denzel Washington probably pull that off.
Denzel would do great as Gerard.
Or trying to think if we could gender bend it. Melissa McCarthy. I want you to search every farmhouse, outhouse, shit house, brown house, pink house.
Here we have a
That's
call.
a reference to John Cougar.
We have a call back to the earlier line of the film, which is a good way to end the movie.
Yeah.
He's taking his handcuffs off, Kimball in the back of the car.
Thought you didn't care.
I don't.
Don't tell anybody, okay?
So yeah, fuck you too.
Poor Cosmo. Everybody else gets right off on Sunset for Cosmo's in the back of an ambulance.
Very old-fashioned movie. They do basically run right off in the sunset, which you just don't see too much anymore. So that is The Fugitive, the 25-year-old.
And then let's all fill in the street behind it.
Yes. Yeah, wow, they're gone. Yeah, I love this movie. I don't know what else to say.
And the guy that played Sights is
one of
like
my
some
favorites.
sci-fi alien or something too.
Any final thoughts about The Fugitive before we wrap her up?
It's a good movie.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
solid.
It's solid. It's very well acted.
Very entertaining.
Very entertaining.
Yeah.
It's a mystery. It's a chase. It's action. It kind of hits all those notches.
Yeah.
Don't waste your time on U.S. Marshals.
No.
Because it's none of those things. I need to go back and watch some. My mom liked the original TV show.
I'm sure it's good. I've never seen it.
And it lasted several seasons.
Yeah.
I didn't realize this movie was as long as it was.
Yeah. Well, where can folks find you?
In about an hour, you can find me in the woods of Virginia, killing Heidi. Sunday, you could have found me in the woods of Gibsonville, killing Jacob Hurd for the movie not yet named yet. Saturday night, you could have found me in the woods of Snow Camp, North Carolina, killing everybody. I went from dad stuff to killer stuff all of a sudden. So
yeah.
it's kind of been a weird.
Now you could be a killer dad.
Yeah. or instead of a dead dad.
Yeah.
Other than that, you can find me on all the social media at Sammie Castle. And check out Sammie the Comic Book Man page, Facebook page. In time travel yesterday, I am doing not a school talk, but a school reading. I am going to go dressed as Thor, old King Thor.
Very cool.
And I have 4 15-minute segments where I read to kindergartners through third graders
Nice.
for superhero night at my elementary alma mater.
Very cool.
That's weird to say alma mater for an elementary school.
Yeah, but I mean, what else do you call it?
Yeah.
Very cool. Keeping the Sammie Comic Man alive.
Yes, Sammie the Comic Book Man is alive and well.
You can find us on Instagram at Recover Productions. I'm on Twitter at Hank vs. the Undead. You can always email me at recoverproductions@gmail.com and find everything that we're up to at our company, including our latest film, Countdown to Midnight, and our other podcast, Carolina Hates, which is a cool show, which we're halfway through our second season right now, at recoverproductions.com.
So I'm behind. I'm sorry. I know.
It's like you've been busy or anything.
Yeah. Had nothing going on.
No.
3 full-time jobs. Actually got some sleep night before last, and I was like, Monday night, I got home at like 10 o'clock, and I was like, man, I'm home early. What am I going to do with this extra time?
Sleep.
Yeah, I did go to bed at 12 for the first time. From October 18th to November 3rd, I did not get home before 1 a.m. any day.
That sucks.
And then my beautiful wife decided, hey, you need to work first shift at the store at least 4 of those days.
Yeah.
Thanks, honey.
You know what Sam Gerard would say, right? I don't care!
I don't care.